Good evening. My name is Ankita Puri. I am the founder and director of Generation Alpha Education Services. And with me is the co founder, Director Timothy Greystone. We welcome you all on this webinar.
So before I kick off the presentation slides, Tim, would you like to welcome the audience for us?
Yes, good evening, and thank you very much for joining us. It's nice to see so many people here. Ankita and I created this business. We have known each other for many years. I started off working in the UK military in the training side before eventually being a director of studies of a civilian aircraft training establishment in Riyadh, followed by a senior lecturer at the Australian College of Kuwait. And then I was head of recruitment and a professor in the Canadian University of Dubai. Ankita and I were in competition then, but more recently, we have been teamed up together, and from our discussions and our thoughts, we have created Generation Alpha. Great to have a chance to transmit to you, and I'll briefly hand back to Ankita to take on the first few sections.
Thank you, Tim. So a lot of audience which has joined us today was wondering what the experiential learning is all about. And we thought that instead of answering them one on one, it's better to have or to host a small information session. Bear with me. I am trying to move the slides. If not, probably I will. Brilliant. A quick look on what exactly experiential learning is all about. Um, some of us may have a concept in our mind that this is something new which education has picked up, but let me help us with this understanding that this is not at all a new concept. It is something which has been into practice over years and decades. Even we have gone through this practice, but with passing generations, with passing time, and with the adaptation of newer technologies and newer educational platforms, experiential learning is also shaping up differently. Um, it is still considered as a remedy to many crucial students, situations for a given situation in a student's life. Now, how does it work? If you look at it, what is there on your screen? This is basically a 4 stages of experiential learning, which has a bit of technical terms per se. It talks about stage 1 as concrete learning, stage 2 as reflective, abstract, and active. I'm going to pick up these very quickly, but before we go on to those stages, it is important for us to acknowledge or give a nod to ourselves that we have heard of these terms called internships. We have heard of these terms called undergraduate research programs, study abroad programs, externships programs, cooperative education. If you have heard one of these or many of these such terminologies, then congratulations, you know what experiential learning is all about. Because this is where a student of any age category is actually exposed to a pattern of learning which is beyond the classroom. Um, there's a very well-known researcher called David Falk, and this is his experiential learning theory, which is right in front of you. And it's a proven theory which states that the following 4 stages plays a very vital role when it comes to child's exposure to such kind of learning atmosphere. Primarily, the first 2 stages which you see, concrete learning, is when the learner gets a new experience or maybe a new way of learning an old concept. This is the time when the learner is actually looking through or experiencing through the concept. Then comes the reflective observation. This is the time when the learner is actually reflecting on what the experience the person had personally. Okay? This is the time when they're grasping this experience. The beauty is, in this entire 4 stage cycle, a student can jump multiple times at multiple dimensions or multiple subjects given in hand. Let's look at the other 2 stages. We have something called abstract, wherein the learner is now, based on his previous experiences, is forming an idea, followed by the implementation of that idea to the world. When we say active implementation, repetition or active experimentation, we are actually talking about transformation of the knowledge acquired. And this knowledge was acquired through experiential learning. Okay, so a bit of my or a very non-technical example now so that you can connect what exactly the core stage wants to highlight here. Let's rewind ourselves. Let's go a couple of years or many years back when we were youngsters or and we were taken up for an education tour by our school premises to a zoo. We went to that zoo because we wanted to learn more about animals and their habitat, by an experience, not just by reading books. That is the time when it got, you could reflect how the behavior was of the particular animal in the zoo was. What kind of habitat was given to that animal? What kind of temperatures were maintained? So this is a classic example which brings into picture that when we talk about experiential learning, we are talking about retention model. We are talking about a retention learning model in the minds of uh, the children. Let's take one step forward. Now that we have understood the fundamentals of experiential learning, it is important to ask ourselves, okay, what are the benefits of the experiential learning? There are many. If you ask me, my dear friends, there are many experiential learning benefits, but there are top five which I picked up particularly for this audience today, and I will take us through from these top benefits. The leading benefit is academic enrichment. I'm not going to read the slide which is in front of you because it is something which is the word itself reflects academic enrichment. This is the time when a student enhances the understanding level. We talk about experiential learning. The child, be it a high school student or an undergraduate student, is actually learning beyond the classroom. And when this happens, that experience brings in a retention, as I said. So this is an improved retention in the minds of the child because now they are learning beyond what within the boundaries of the classroom they belong. The academic enrichment is we cannot outrule this strong cultural exposure. This is very important looking at the way the world is digitally getting connected. Um, the kind of outreach the students are having these days, such kind of experiential learning programs brings an element of empathy towards the world. They understand the other culture, they understand um, the belief system, and they learn and they exchange the goods out of it each. We also bring them closer to be called as global students when we talk about cultural exposures or cultural immersions. Let's take up the next benefit in line. We're talking about personal growth. Now, we have to give a lot of credit to this particular benefit gained out of experiential learning, which is the personal growth, because it generates a critical thinking ability within the minds of these children. When I say critical thinking, let me make it easier for your understanding. A problem solving skill. When the child is actually being left on its own for a small tenure of time within a very secure environment, the child develops that ability of taking small little decisions of life all by itself. But this way, the child is doing actually exercising its brain that how to take up a right decision. And these decisions becomes more learned decisions. And not just that, there is something called life skills development as well. The child knows that if I am out for an experiential learning program, um, I am definitely not within the cocoon or the comfort zone of my parents around. So this is the time I am picking up how to be good at time management. This is the time I realize how to adapt with the environment I'm living in. If there is a food which is served to me, may not be of my choice, but thank you very much. So adaptability starts building up when the child is exposed to such programs. And above everything, in terms of personal growth, my friends, organizational skills is something which is very crucial and it plays a very, very vital role. Um, when they are out, when these students are out for such programs, uh, they do their own laundries, they do their own beddings, and they have to get up on time. They get a bit more organized. They know the management of time, and they become a better version of themselves. Of course, we do give a lot of weightage to social networking. As I said a couple of minutes back, these students today are connected globally, and the digital world has actually squeezed the boundaries, geographical boundaries. It is very, very helpful through experiential learning. The outreach of the student increases. They get in touch with international students. They get in touch with international peers who brings a lot of global opportunities within your own city. Assuming you belong to a city in, say, in central India or say in southern India, uh, and you realize that there is a lot of potential in your subject. You have an option to connect with your peers who are working in the rest of the world and get those international opportunities to your school's doorway. And it is also important for school leaders to encourage the students because social networking actually will bring or will open a lot of avenues for their school leadership to implement as an add-on to their curriculum. Last but not the least, benefit is the university experience. Through the experiential learning program, we are trying or we try to build this generation of these students to be more career ready. They get an opportunity to sail through and meet different university officials. They are now being trained to be more learned about selecting their higher education options, and the influence of peers takes a back seat. When a child is in grade 10 or when the child is already stepped into grade 11, there's a high possibility of the child started taking, peer influence or social influence or parental influence of selecting their subject, selecting their career, which may not be the right choice. But if the child is fed with the right information at the right time, this kind of readiness for their respective careers acts as a boom. And they turn out to be more responsible future leaders. So these are a couple of benefits which I thought I will share with the audience right here. Moving on, there is a question now which comes very apparent. Okay, once you have understood the importance of experiential learning in the minds of the youngsters or in the minds of school students and also to the undergrad students, how is it that Generation Alpha can help you? And to speak a bit more about the ways to achieve it, I'll hand it over to Tim. Tim, here to just give me a cue and I will keep changing these slides for your convenience. Over to you.
Thank you very much indeed, and good evening again, everybody. Well, as you can see from what Ankita said, and the titles of the slide, Generation Alpha offers short-term international educational travel, typically for approximately 7 days for the students who are in grade 10, 11, or 12 at school, and typically 4 or 5 days for those who are already studying a bachelor's and looking ahead to take on a master's degree. So it will depend on the age, but typically we're talking of about 1 week for the school children. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so the children, well, I say children, the young adults who are in grade 10, 11, and 12 are going to join us for a week, and during that time they're going to visit 3 or 4 world-renowned university campuses. You may know already that Dubai is a major center for education, where the universities here that operate on the Indian system, on the UAE local system, but they also we have here American universities, Australian universities, British universities, French universities, German universities, and in particular, the universities of Germany and France have recently opened in Dubai. What does this mean for the kids? Well, if they're in grade 10, 11, and 12, particularly at the older end, they're going to be looking to what can I study? What are my options? Where can I study? And eventually, where are the opportunities to work? Well, with all the universities I have mentioned, particularly with Germany and France being recent additions, and with the American and the British ones, the teenagers, when they come to Dubai as a major education center here, they can study all 3 or 4 years in Dubai should they wish, and they will graduate from here. However, the Dubai opportunity gives them the scope to be able to study, say, 2 years in Dubai at say, for example, a German university, but then to study years 3 and years 4 actually in Germany. Likewise, for the French university, they have to spend some time in France, but if they wish, they can spend extra time in France. And again, the same for the American or the British. What does that mean? Well, apart from the fact that they will get international experience while studying, all the courses will be taught in English, by the way. They get the chance to learn abroad whilst they're in Germany and France, but they also then get the opportunity, if they graduate in those countries, to remain there under a work visa, graduating in Germany, finding a job in Germany, and then eventually, should they wish to do so, remaining there, gaining residential status. And the same applies to the universities in Canada, America, and France. So it opens up the opportunity for the students to start their studies in Dubai, finish into a different country, and if they wish to remain there, gaining residential status in due course. That's a major part of the how we are going to achieve this experiential learning. They are going to have tours of world-class universities that actually have they have some faculties in Dubai. They'll be talking to the admissions team, but whilst they're there, depending on whether it's a business university or an engineering university, they will be taking some workshops or simulations or some business games, which will then lead on to being awarded a certificate as being part of the experience of a university visit. Additionally, they'll be doing industrial visits to agricultural plants, to manufacturing plants, and also to space centers, planetariums, and to network with the students of all these universities via their social clubs, their social media clubs, their camera clubs, their own sporting clubs, etc., etc. So they'll be visiting the universities, they'll be taking experiential simulations, business games, awarded certificates, and a chance to explore all the potential opportunities that are available, including remaining and gaining a visa and residential status to work in many, many countries outside of India and outside of Dubai. They'll be living in a residential area with the university's students, people who are studying there, and that is all part of their learning experience there. Can we move on to the next slide, please, Ankita? There we go. Typically, the program duration is 7 days for school students, the school children or teenagers who are grades 10, 11, and 12. And their focus will be on mixing with the students, but looking at the universities to achieve a bachelor's degree. And for master's students, for the students who are already studying for their bachelor's, we'll be looking at a visit, probably slightly less. These students may need a little bit less time for cultural immersion, and they'll probably have a more focused visit to specifically look at master's courses and the opportunities for working in Dubai or outside of Dubai and in the Europe or America or Canada as before. Thank you. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Tim. Tim, would you also like to give a quick talk about how they can also enjoy their visit when they're here? Because now we'll be moving on to the question and answer session.
Absolutely. Well, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, is something we say in England. So obviously the focus of the trip here will be on experiential learning, education, university visits. But there will be some cultural and social visits to achieve as well. Dubai is very well known for having some extraordinary 21st century architecture, some amazing shopping experiences, but also where they're living where they're going to be living in the students' campus in Dubai. The campus is very well equipped with games rooms, reading rooms, all the social media facilities, swimming pools, gyms, sports facilities, and so on. So, although depending on the age of the kids, the younger groups will be maintaining a more sort of matronly and motherly and fatherly hand on their activities. The older ones will have a lot more chance to do some shopping on their own and witnessing Dubai at their own rate and at their own pace to pursue the activities they wish. But we wish them to sort of get the most out of the visit, so there will be an element of our supervision with them at all times, especially for the younger students who, of course, we want the parents back in India to feel doubly happy that we are maintaining the right safety and security procedures for the whole duration of their visit. But there will be plenty of opportunity for them to enjoy themselves as well. Thank you, Anki.
Great, thank you very much. And that was quite an I could actually visualize them having and going through all these bullets one at a time. But then since I know how beautiful this particular program is going to be executed for the students or the upcoming cohorts to Dubai, let's show them a typical agenda, how the program schedule looks like for the benefit of the audience. That we have just picked up a sample for your reference, that how your day-to-day activities are going to get segregated, though this is not exactly the replica of how your schedule will look like, but it is always better that whatever Tim mentioned during his time, this is how we are going to utilize your 5 days or your 7 days stay, and we are trying to give your stay a very meaningful approach. At the same time, we are going to engage you holistically, developing your interest in and around while you're staying in Dubai. So with this, we are very much running on time, and that's a kudos to us. Tim, let's move on to the Q&A session. I may request the audience to please you can open up your mic and you can ask your questions. Me and Tim would like to address most of your queries. Feel free to throw the questions.
Yes, thank you very much, Ankita. And yes, if anyone has any particular questions to ask on the structure, on the activity, and the focus on what we are trying to achieve, we will attempt to do our best to answer them here and now. And there will be the opportunity to make comments or ask questions later, should you wish to do so.
If audience
can I ask?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So Tim, I have 2 questions. If you can answer them for my clarity. First is that how early should this exposure be given to the students? And the second question is that how is this learning different from classroom learning? I mean, we take our students and we try to give them so many experiences. How is this experience going to be very different from the classroom?
Well, all the activities they will do in a university will not be classroom based. They'll be in a position of a business simulation game. They'll be in a laboratory, or they'll be in a robotics lab. So depending on whether the students are primarily potential engineers or technical students, or whether they're business students, they will be getting some hands-on activities, lateral thinking games in robotics exercises, or something along those lines. We appreciate that most of them will already have had several thousands of hours of experience in the classroom, receiving genuine, normal, if you like, academic education. The universities in Dubai are moving not completely away from the academic. They still need to attend lectures for the foundation stages of their subjects. But they will find increasingly so, particularly with the European universities and the American ones, that they are left to their, not to say their own devices, but they have to sort of find out their ways to solve through the simulation games and through the actual business projects on their own with the help of the lecturers. So obviously in 1 week, there's a limit to what we can achieve in actual expectations, but it will act as a sort of bridging week between what they may be used to more at school and to some of the subjects and activities that they will have to study when they come as undergraduates. Also, some of the professors we have are those that are come to Dubai. They're up the world leading edge in their subjects, and they themselves know that in order to attract students to the university, they need to have some flair, and they need to have some very, very new ideas in how to sort of stimulate the students who are going to be with them perhaps for 1 day. And maybe that will be 1 day during the day and 1 evening, and have some evening sort of activities as well. And so a lot of these universities, they're built only in the last 10 years. They have up-to-date facilities, very up-to-date laboratory equipment, and the students will be hands-on and will see what can be achievable in the 21st century Dubai University. I hope that answers your question, and I've forgotten what the first question was. So.
I can assist you here, Tim. So, yes, the other question was regarding what age category of
how early we should give this exposure to our students.
Brilliant. And it's a very, very important question, and thank you for bringing it on for the discussion here. Ideally, this kind of an information fits well to the students who are currently in grade 9, grade 10, grade 11 and 12, and there is a reason behind it, because these are very crucial years of the school age. Students who are in grade 9 and grade 10, they start making up their minds, and especially these children who are already running in advance in terms of finding out things from Google, researching about career opportunities, what best is meant for you. It is very important to consider them not as youngsters, but mature minds at this age itself, so that when they're in grade 9 and in grade 10, they should stop judging, or they should stop, fixing up their mind to one option, and rather be encouraged to look for, a more advanced database, which should be their reference point to come to a decision on subject selection. This world is full of opportunities. Gone are the days when we had limited options available for students to pick during their grade 11 and 12 and pick up the careers. We all can attest to this statement that opportunities are unlimited in today's world. Your interest has a career, whatever your interest is. The only concern and shortcoming comes is when your interest related careers are not known to you. So the whole idea is that when you are in grade 9 and grade 10, it is expected out of you as a child that now it's a prime time for you to pick up the information related to what do you wish to be. And if you're in grade 11 already, and if you've already made up your mind that you aim to be in this industry, and for that you have to study this particular program, it is very, very crucial that you should do a bit more of experiential research about that program. So you better pack your bags, go and figure out what is the on-ground reality of the selection of program you intend to do, and then jump into the sea. Some children some children start doing this research after grade 12, after writing the exams of grade 12, which actually kind of gives them very less lead time to pick up the right subject. I hope that answers your questions.
Wonderful. Yeah, thank you so much, and wonderful session.
I think if I may add that that there is an international centre of excellence in Dubai with the universities, and so all the obvious courses like IT and mechanical engineering, electrical engineering are all well represented. But there is an enormous amount of modern business, artificial intelligence, microbiology, and biotechnology subjects, which some of the kids in grades 9, 10, 11, 12 may not have been exposed to quite so much from their own parental, from advice from their parents, from their elder siblings, from their teachers at school. And this is where we would open up these potential opportunities in these sort of new subjects that may be less apparent in other places of the world to do right.
There was another question, I guess.
Yeah, I have one question, if I may ask.
Yes, please.
Okay, see, my son is in high school, 11th grade. Okay, now, I mean, for for sure, his friends, they have already made up their mind what exactly they want to do and which probable university they're going to join. However, I'm sure when he'll come to know, plus I'm also right now completely sold to this idea that at least, it'll not come as a shocker the moment you're ready for university. Might as well get a taster and go for these kind of programs so that you understand you have to adjust with somebody altogether you don't even know. You're out of your home comforts. But my question here would be, if let's say for any XYZ university that you take my child for this program, later on, couple of years down the line when he is eligible to join the university, this program can help in getting some kind of scholarship later there.
Good question. Thank you so much for bringing this up. Tim, if I may take this, and then I can.
Quite happy. We have discussed with all the universities, and I think we can say that with every university we discussed, they are going to offer levels of scholarship. They offer levels of scholarship for academic excellence already for those who are achieving the high grades at the high school, but they've also given us some concessions to offer extra scholarships for students who come through this course. Hank, did you want to add anything to that?
Just a point here. The purpose of bringing students at this early age, as you said, your child is in grade 11, is that university also tend to give the right benchmark and the yardstick for the child to perform in grade 11 and grade 12. And the motivation comes through the kind of scholarships they offer. Think of a child who is excellent in sports and who has actually played national level or state level, or international level for that purpose. This particular child may have done excellent in sports and there is a sports scholarship, but at the same time, it is imperative that the child should have some required grades also. So if the child comes to know about it at the early age of grade 10 or grade 11, it is very much fair for that particular student to excel and somehow get eligible for the scholarships which are given based on merits. At the same time, the child can encash the scholarship based on sports. So as you asked, if these students are visiting, if this cohort is visiting such universities, definitely they will be having a benefit of learning about scholarships at a much early age. And since they will be a part of the university system right from the day they encounter or they visit the campus, it will definitely be a plus one benefit for such children above other applications which come. I hope that answers.
Sounds good. Thank you.
I think it's fair to say that once these grade 10 and 11 students have visited a university, that as those universities start different courses and start new courses, or as each year approaches, they will no doubt send information to the students and let them know what scholarships are available. But it's a subject that they will be briefed on very thoroughly during the experiential learning, and it's very much part of the package. And thank you for your question.
Do we have more questions here? Anyone who wants to ask a question? I'm just trying to bring back the slides in case if any questions triggers from the points mentioned here. Great. Okay. So if we have answered your questions, and I'm very happy to have such an interactive audience today, and it was really wonderful. There are a couple of questions which were shared to us, when we were sending invites for this webinar, and we will be addressing them individually to the respective audience who has requested. There are questions related to the safety measures which we are taking for these students when they're traveling out of their country. Um, we have to be mindful that it is not within the country travel. Since when we refer to outside country travel, we have to be really, really careful about um, all the documents these students are carrying, their own belongings, and at the same time their own safety measures. So I would like to just quickly address this particular point in our conversation here. Um, a Dubai itself gives us a lot of leverage in terms of safety measures. It is a very safe country to travel and to live in. Um, and when our cohorts are traveling, we are actually ensuring that the school children or the undergrad students are coming along with their teachers as well, because this is very important to maintain the comfort zone for the students. For some, it might be a first international travel of their life, and for some, it might be an international travel without their family members around for the first time. We respect both the cases and anything in between, because we understand when a child is traveling without a family member around, it becomes an utmost important to maintain the comfort and the security measures to each individual who is a part of it. So we are very, very grateful and proud of our teachers who come along with these cohorts. And once the child is in Dubai, we have a full-fledged team support here, which ensures that these students are always under a buddy system kind of a monitoring. They do enjoy their stay, they do feel independent, but at the same time, Generation Alpha staff ensures that there is always an eye upon them. Even where they are gonna stay is like a student accommodation of a star class facility, which also has all due guidelines being measures being taken care of for a child's safety, at the same time providing them all the facilities they want to enjoy from their trip. So if safety concerns, if you have any specific requirement or specific questions related to safety, feel free to ask us here, or if in case if it's not clicking your minds at this point in time, we are happy to share you this particular slide wherein you can leave your questions. Uh, just leave your query here. You can scan this code right now, which is there in front of your screen, and you can leave your questions with us, and our team will get back to you. We also are happy to connect one-to-one. If you have any interest, a group of students would like to connect with us for a closed discussion, me and Tim are more than happy to ourselves be present and talk to you. Tim, is there anything you'd like to add before we call it off?
I think you covered all the angles very well. Thank you very much, Ankita. I know that there has been concern raised by parents. I'm the father of daughters myself, and so I have doubly made sure that they would be safety and security issues are paramount, particularly with the younger students. But as we have said, Dubai is generally speaking a very, very safe country, and so I think we can leave there. Any questions or comments? Delighted to hear any more. Delighted to entertain any more views, any more questions, or any further discussion. And thank you very much for listening to me and listening to us.
Thank you.
And thank you very much, everyone. And we wish you a great evening. And thank you so much for joining. It was indeed a pleasure talking to you all today.